When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions and quality standards apply. Listen up, people. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know, our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to podcastlisteners.com and fill out a short anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. Again, that's podcastlisteners.com.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 250 plus markets across the United States of America. Check your AM, FM listening dial, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM, Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. The NBA is on ESPN Radio. Tune in tomorrow night as Harden and the Rockets host Westbrook and the Thunder. Presented by Indeed. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Did you see it? Did you see it? Did you see what transpired last night? Did you see that the NBA trading deadline came and went and Anthony Davis is not in L.A. with the Lakers? Did you see it? Did you see it? That's what I need to know. Because I tried to tell y'all it wasn't going to happen. I tried to tell y'all there was no way in hell that the New Orleans Pelicans were going to move Anthony Davis before the trading deadline, because in the event that something like that happened, it would be perceived, accurately or not, as caving, capitulating, giving in to Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, who represent Anthony Davis and ultimately LeBron James. And there were too many people in the league who were adamantly against that and were in Dell Demp's ear, imploring him not to capitulate in any way. That's what this was about. And the second everybody realizes that, the better off everybody will be. At some point in time, we got to sit up there and recognize what's going on here. We got to recognize that when you look at an Anthony Davis, although he may end up in L.A. eventually, nobody's trying to help LeBron James. People are thankful that he went to 9 NBA finals, 8 straight NBA finals. People are thankful that he's the greatest player in the world and an iconic figure. But they don't want to empower him any more than he's empowered. He's playing with the odds stacked against him. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Magic Johnson and Rob Pelinka, the general manager for the Los Angeles Lakers, handle this into the future. And if LeBron James was sitting on the sidelines, content to defer to Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm here to tell you right now, that's come to an end. It's not an accident that on TNT last night, when LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, captains of their respective all-star teams, picking the all-stars that they wanted to play alongside them. It's not an accident who LeBron James ended up picking. It's not an accident, not by any stretch of the imagination. You can act like you don't know if you want to. You can act all surprised all if you want to. But I'm here to tell you something right now. It didn't surprise me. When you look at Team LeBron, think about the players that he picked. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis, all players he would love to have on his squad. One of the best moments of the whole telecast with Ernie Johnson, the magician, the master himself, the master at being a master of ceremonies, Ernie Johnson. He sat up there and LeBron James picked Anthony Davis And he said, "You sure you want to do that, bro?" Like, I'm pretty sure that I want him as my teammate. The Greek Freak with the line of the night, isn't that tampering? And LeBron laughing, it ain't tampering for an all-star game. It was a beautiful thing to see. Beautiful thing to see. But he ain't hiding it. He's doing it right in front of you. He knows who he wants. And the question is, who can he get? I'm here to tell you something right now. It'll be, no matter what way you slice it, whether it's hard for him and the Lakers to get the New Orleans Pelicans to make a trade, or whether it's hard for him to recruit, I'm going to tell you something right now. The pressure, as far as I'm concerned, has considerably rolled off the shoulders of Irvin Magic Johnson. The pressure is now on LeBron James. Magic Johnson couldn't get it done before the NBA trading deadline. We recognize that. Magic Johnson is still a president of basketball operations. Actually, it was Magic Johnson that had to get on the phone with Dell Demps, according to my sources, because he wouldn't talk to Rob Pelinka. There's plenty of people out there ain't interested in helping Rob Pelinka, who was an agent before he became the GM, who's had a close relationship with Kobe and, of course, Jeannie Buss, whose relationship with others around the league is highly questionable. Now, I have no problem with him. And I think the kind of complaints that you hear about him, you could easily hear about any agent. So it ain't like Rob Pelinka is the devil reincarnated or something. That's not what we're saying here. I'm saying that now that he's a general manager, people are going to pick, parse, and choose what they want to hold against them and what they don't want to. And as a result, he's somewhat compromised. You slice it any way you want to. That's what this all comes down to. It's simply inescapable. And we don't even need to try. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show. ESPN Radio, ESPN News. So to me, the pressure is immensely on the shoulders of LeBron James, because here's the one question that has to be asked about LeBron James when it comes into this summer. Can he recruit? You are in L.A. You got Southern California sunshine, palm trees, Rodeo Drive. You don't have to worry about no blizzards, no snowstorms. Hell, you barely have to worry about rain. You got beautiful weather. You got Tinseltown. You got loads and loads of opportunity to go where the money's at and to make something work along those lines. And you have the Laker brand, the greatest brand in all of basketball worldwide. There's no bigger basketball brand. There is no bigger basketball brand than the Los Angeles Lakers. None bigger. So when you look at it from that perspective and you're dissecting and analyzing, LeBron James, he's going to be under some pressure. Can you recruit and get somebody to come and play with you? That's really the question in all of this. Can he pull it off? Because you can't make the Pelicans trade Anthony Davis before it's time. Now, Rich Paul and Clutch Sports are incredibly confident that Anthony Davis is going to be out of there this summer. And chances are he's absolutely right. That doesn't mean he's going to go where he wants to go. Then you could talk about a 1-year rental. Anybody that grabs Anthony Davis, all you'll have him for is 1 year. But you don't know that. And oh, by the way, if Anthony Davis decides to come to L.A., who the hell's to say it's the Lakers? Why not the Clippers? They got to protect their first-round pick to offer, assuming it's a top 14 pick, because they end up out of the playoffs and in the draft lottery. You got a few second-round picks available to you. You certainly have some cap space to make moves. So chances are you'll have an opportunity to get more than just one player if you are the Los Angeles Clippers. Organizationally, this isn't the days of Donald Sterling. Organizationally, this is the billionaire that's Steve Ballmer. This is the man in his right hand and right ear in the great Jerry West. This is Lawrence Frank, a former head coach in this league, an assistant coach in this league, who's now basically your president of basketball operations or executive VP of basketball operations. You still got Doc Rivers there. So you look at all of those different things going on in the Clippers organization. One could argue that's first class. Then we transition to the Los Angeles Lakers. There's been questions about Luke Walton. Well, who hired him? Jeannie Buss with Jim Buss. That wasn't Magic Johnson's hire. Will he stick around? Question mark. Will you be able to recruit a marquee player to come play with LeBron? Question mark. And in the event that you don't, is this team good enough to go into the future with? They damn sure looked that good last night. What a game. What a game. Los Angeles Lakers beat the Boston Celtics on a buzzer beater by Rajon Rondo, a tap out by Tyson Chandler, by the way. Great hustle on his part. Kyle Kuzma had 25 points. Lakers hit about 22 three-pointers. JaVale McGee just continues to impress. I look at all of those things, and I say to myself, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, Los Angeles Lakers, they got some young talent on this squad. By the way, I'm not high on two of them. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball. Both can play. I'm not saying that. Brandon Ingram, I simply don't think is the right fit for these Lakers. In the case of Lonzo Ball, I'm tired of complaining about his lack of aggression. How do you have a daddy like he has and you lack aggression? This man, LeVar Ball, goes on national TV yesterday talking about LeBron will never win in L.A. without my son, Lonzo Ball. And I tried to tell the Lakers if they took my two children, who, by the way, none of whom are playing in the NBA. You pulled one out of high school, you pulled the other out of college. You took them over to Lithuania, for crying out loud. You're now selling big baller brand water. And I never understood this thing with all of this water stuff. I mean, I thought water was water. I mean, now you got all of these labels. Isn't it water? It ain't like it's Kool-Aid with different flavors or Gatorade with different flavors. Water's supposed to be water. You either got the ones with the electrolyte, the Powerade, all of that other stuff, or you don't. Either you got the alkaline water or the acidic water. I get that part. But with all of these damn water companies, how is one different than the other? How is one alkaline or natural spring water different than the other? How is one acidic, regular water, or tap water different than the other? How is one with electrolytes and stuff like that different than the other? I don't get it, guys. Someday somebody has to explain this to me. But it is America. It's a capitalistic society, which means that the objective is to find a sucker every day. And let's not act like I haven't been one in the past either. That's how I know to ask these questions. But I digress. The point that I'm trying to make is, in the end, what you gonna do? If you're Magic Johnson and the Los Angeles Lakers, Lonzo Ball is playing music. He ain't going nowhere for the rest of the season. Ingram ain't going nowhere for the rest of the season. Lance Stevenson ain't going nowhere for the rest of the season. JaVale McGee ain't going nowhere for the rest of the season. Tyson Chandler in those words, even though JaVale McGee, Tyson Chandler, Rondo, and LeBron weren't really worried about it. If you Ingram, if you Kuzma, if you're Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, guys like that, you damn sure won't worry. Well, guess what, y'all? Now you have February, March, April, and hopefully possibly May to show your value and to show the Lakers you might not want to think about sending me out of town. You got 3.5 months to do it. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Because let me tell you something right now. L.A. ain't New York. I'm a native New Yorker. I love New York. New York's my home. Will always be. The bright lights of Broadway and all of that other stuff. Oh man, you can't beat it. But you know what the difference between New York and L.A. is? Guess what? The answer ain't taxes. They are both monstrous. You know what the difference between the two is? Stress. Because in New York, there's considerably more stress. Guess what? If you in L.A. and you stuck in traffic on a 405 or the 10 or the 110, you could be like my boy Jeff Brown, who calls me to tease me when a blizzard is taking place in New York City or the weather's in single digits, I just wanted to let you know that my AC is on while the roof is open on my ride. That's what he says to me, just to tease me. He's the guy that wears a scarf and puts on his fireplace when, dare I say, the weather conditions are 68 degrees. That's what he does. Basically giving you an indication this is the worst case scenario situation we're looking at. And if you bet your bottom dollar that there's NBA players that's looking at it like that. Now, let me tell you why LeBron James is in a tight spot. Because there's really no excuse not to go out there and get somebody. You know why? Half the players got a home in L.A. in the offseason anyway. Which gives you an indication of where they would really like to be. So if I got a home in L.A., and Kevin Durant's got a home in L.A., and Anthony Davis has a home in L.A., and it's possible Kyrie, if he doesn't have one yet, is going to have a home in L.A., and Kawhi Leonard has got a $13 million property towards San Diego because he went to San Diego State and he loves Southern California and all of that other stuff. If you LeBron, how come you can't get one of these brothers to come play with you in L.A. wearing a Lakers uniform? This ain't just about Magic anymore. This is about LeBron and whether or not he can recruit. Now, LeBron was on the record, and do we have that sound with him talking about how he has nothing to prove? Because that's a big deal. That's a big deal. If we have it, play it now, please.
It's nothing I need to get in this league that I don't already have. So everything else, for me is just like just icing on the cake. I love, the process of everything that I go through to be able to compete every single night, put teams in position to compete for championships. But there's nothing that I'm chasing or that I feel like I need to end my career on.
Here's the deal. Let's call this what it is. First of all, let's not insult LeBron James. It's not like he's going on the court and doesn't care about winning. That particular statement right there was about LeBron reminding everybody, as he has every right to, by the way. Let's not forget, don't talk to me like I'm some champion. I'm some wannabe champion chasing the ring. I already got 3. Because the experiences that he had to endure in pursuit of that first championship was so real, so daunting, and so excruciating in his eyes that let's be clear about something, ladies and gentlemen. He doesn't deserve to have to go through that again. You should not talk to LeBron James. And I'll be the first to admit, I'll come to his defense and tell you, you can't do that to him. You can't talk to him like he's some dude that has never won and that you got to make sure to hold him accountable and treat him like he's chasing some elusive championship that he's never captured. No, he has 3 of them, ladies and gentlemen. 2 in Miami, 1 in Cleveland. He went to 8 straight NBA finals. You can't tell him anything in that regard, but I will say this. There is something to be said about being the greatest Laker ever to have never won an NBA championship. The only marquee in the history of the Lakers franchise to never have won a championship. I understand you want to throw Elgin Baylor in there, and that's fine. Because he retired the year that Jerry West and those boys won it. He retired midway through that season. But let's understand that there was Jerry West and there was Wilt Chamberlain. And so it wasn't like Elgin Baylor was that dude when he hooked up with Jerry West and these guys. LeBron is still the greatest player in the world. If LeBron doesn't win a championship, he would be that marquee, that one marquee to have failed to bring a championship to L.A. in a Lakers uniform. George Mikan did it. Wilt Chamberlain did it. Jerry West did it. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it. Magic Johnson did it. Shaq did it. Kobe did it. If LeBron fails to do so, he will be the only person in the history of the franchise to have failed to bring the chip to L.A. as a marquee. Every single marquee for the Lakers delivered a championship. He would be the first to have failed to do so. Now, you can sit up there and joke around like others have, says, look, man, he's going to do the best he can, but when the season's over, he's going to be chilling in the south of France. All is well. Ain't that simple. It ain't what it was when he was chasing that elusive title, but it ain't as simple they trying to make it out to be either. You got to go and recruit. If I got cats that want to be here and want to buy homes here and want to live here, why am I struggling to get them to play in a Laker uniform when I'm still recognized as the best in the world? I still got game and I'm right here. Why would that be a problem? Ultimately, I have to look at you. If you're LeBron James, because you play for a storied franchise, they got the cap space to bring a marquee dude in here. Can you get them to recruit? Can you get a Kawhi to pass on the Clippers to come to you? Can you get a Kevin Durant to leave Golden State and come help you capture more championships? Or can you perform a mea culpa, acknowledge to Kyrie Irving that, you know what, you could have handled things differently your damn self, and then go about the business of reuniting with Kyrie? I'm not saying that's going to happen because I don't think it is, but I'm just saying these are your options if you're LeBron. Or you can recruit Klay Thompson and say, aren't you tired of being second fiddle to Steph Curry as the greatest shooter on the planet? You can shoot more if you're here. I'll get you the ball. You can do that if you're LeBron. It's something worth thinking about. It really, really is. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That's why he picked the roster that he picked for the All-Star weekend. Got a whole bunch of free agents he's going to have an opportunity to spend extra time with. Come on to L.A., y'all. What's up? What time is it? Let's do this. That's what they'll probably be saying. We'll see if it works. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. That was Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. I'll get to your phone calls. I'll get more into Anthony Davis. I'll get more into the other trades that took place before yesterday's NBA trading deadline expired and who I think may very well be the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. I'll explain why as well. I'll get a little bit into Markelle Fultz. Okay. And, obviously a couple of NFL items will be on the docket as well. Also, soap opera star extraordinaire, my boss on General Hospital, the one and only Maurice Bernard, who plays Sonny Corinthos, knows the sports, by the way. He's doing some things as well. He's expecting to call in sometime in hour number 2, so I'm hoping to hear from him as well. Stick around. Don't touch that dial. It's the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News, by the way. Fellas, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the NBA season is heating up, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN and get 10% off your first order. Get out, go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use what I use. That's Vivid Seats. Don't let me forget Kyler Murray either. He's making some news as well. I'll be talking about that and more as well. Don't touch that dial. It's Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Geico presents unhelpful home improvement how-tos.
A slippery bathroom floor can result in expensive hospital bills. So today, I'll show you how to cushion a serious fall by filling your bathroom with thousands of plastic balls. Just nail a piece of plywood across the doorway and dump in 2,000 multicolored plastic balls.
You could try to protect yourself with a bathroom full of plastic balls, or you could get liability coverage through the Geico Insurance Agency. Visit geico.com and see how affordable renter's insurance can be.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Get triple action protection for optimal engine performance with Shell V-Power Nitro Plus premium gasoline. Plus, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN is always the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. Before I get to anything else, I wanted to revisit something that LeBron James said. On another matter, LeBron James, if you recall the other night, complained because Harrison Barnes had gotten traded. Harrison Barnes, then of the Dallas Mavericks, had gotten traded to the Sacramento Kings. LeBron was talking about how the player was still in uniform
playing in the game, on the bench, and then got traded. He wasn't aware at the time he wasn't aware that Harrison Barnes had been informed of the possibility that he might be traded and given a choice whether to play or not, and that he had decided and elected to play. So LeBron spoke out about it on an Instagram post. And to paraphrase, because I don't have the Instagram post in front of me at this particular moment, to paraphrase, what LeBron James was saying is that he's good with the owners handling their business, just like he's good with the players handling their business. Just call it fairly if you're the public. Don't sit up there and say it's just business when it comes to teams and ownership groups, but treat the players like pariahs. Treat the players like pariahs if indeed they exercise their rights and their power and they want something different for themselves as well. That's what he was saying. And then he felt the need to clarify it further because people were essentially misconstruing what he was trying to say. And LeBron felt the need to address it on that level. Let me take it from there and tell you where I stand. LeBron James was trying to say something, in my opinion, that is very, very difficult for the modern day athlete to say, particularly the black athlete. They have a problem because everybody's thinking about monetizing their brand, building their brand, not compromising their bottom line, et cetera, which I respect and understand. But essentially what they did was go about the business of trying to politically correctly state something that most of them feel. LeBron didn't say it. He didn't want to say it. So I'll say it for him. Ladies and gentlemen, the black athlete is treated differently. Even a superstar like LeBron James, who, by the way, if you recall, had racial epithets spray painted on his gate in Brentwood, California, about a year ago. Remember that? You have an abundance of people in the United States of America who believe that you wouldn't be worth a damn thing if you didn't know how to dribble a basketball or catch a touchdown pass. So the mentality is that you should be grateful for what you have. You should be thankful for what you have, as opposed to being recognized for being the great talent that you are, who put in the hard work along the way to earn everything you have. And because people view you in a fashion that's not indicative of that, and recognizing the obvious luck associated with such benefits, because luck always plays a role in those who are fortunate enough to, quote unquote, have it all. You have a vast majority of American citizens who believe that these athletes should be grateful and these athletes should be thankful. So at any moment in time, when you flex your muscle and you exercise your prowess, you acknowledge your prowess and then you exercise it. They're ready to lose their minds because folks are treating you like, who the hell do you think you are? Now, as my man Max Kellerman explained on First Take this morning, it's happened to white athletes too. Back in the day, even before the sports world was integrated, and to a lesser degree, even after it was integrated, but there was still a paucity of African-American athletes. You had white athletes who were subjected to the same kind of quote-unquote bullying tactics, whether it be by ownership or by the fans themselves, speaking about how they should appreciate the position that they're in. So nobody is trying to avoid or to cover up the fact and the reality that white athletes have to go through that too. But in the end, what it comes down to is this. And we've said this often. I'm going to give you some insight. into how a vast majority of that, because I can't speak for everybody, but I'm a black man and I know what black folks feel a lot more often than not. And there's a saying that if folks want to admit it, they'll call up here and acknowledge I'm telling y'all the truth. There's this belief in the black community, and some people will word it differently, but the theme, the mentality, the belief is the same. And here it is. When white folks catch a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. To paraphrase, ladies and gentlemen, what that means is no matter how difficult and desolate circumstances may be, but in this particular case, for the purposes of this discussion, for the white athlete, it is always more difficult for the black athlete. Always. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a collective bargaining agreement where it calls for minimizing the amount of salary you can make. It exists in football. To a lesser degree, it exists in basketball. Does it exist in baseball? How about tennis? How about golf? You know, where are these collectively bargained agreements that limit your earning power? Now, I can't sit up there and tell you definitively what the amount is, but I once heard that Phil Mickelson makes over $40 million annually for one endorsement. That's what I once heard. Some pharmaceutical product or whatever it is. I don't know what the hell it is. Hollywood, they make $20 million a film. I understand that Denzel could do that now. I understand that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence did it with Bad Boys. Who knows what the hell Morgan Freeman is making, or Samuel L. Jackson for that matter. But I got news for you, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at those guys in Hollywood, you hear anybody talking about them? But let an athlete tell you he wants out. Yeah, I signed this contract, but you know what? I'd rather go elsewhere. No, I don't feel like coming back. Holy hell is raised. Let a black athlete tell you, you know what? I'm really not interested in school. I'm here to play professional sports and make as much money as I can while I can. Folks will be up in arms. But you know what? When it was Bryce Harper getting homeschooled and literally trained to be a professional baseball player by his own daddy, nobody said anything. These are the kind of things that folks like LeBron and others speak about or feel, but would never articulate in the way that I just did. Unless, of course, you catch LeBron James on The Shop, his show on HBO, which usually is very, very compelling television. I'm just saying, something to think about. Because for him to feel the need to speak about that in the year 2019 should tell you something. Not just about how far we've come, but still how far we need to go before folks are perceived differently. Just thought I'd throw that out there. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, fellas, today marks the 6-day countdown until Valentine's. For those putting off buying a gorgeous bouquet from my friends at 1-800-Flowers.com, do me a favor, please. Take care of it today. Because right now, when you order early, you'll get 18 red roses for $29.99. Or upgrade to 24 red roses for $10 more. To order 18 red roses for $29.99 or upgrade to 24 red roses for only $10 more, go to 1-800-Flowers.com. Click the radio icon and enter code Stephen A. That's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Stephen A. That's with a PH, not a V. Hurry up! This offer expires today. To your calls and more in a minute. Hopefully before my man Maurice Bernard, Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital, by the way, comes on the show. Don't touch that dial. You're listening live. Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Guess what?
You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show. We're coming to you live from above the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17, South Street Seaport, New York City. Plus, tune in tomorrow for college basketball action as Duke battles Virginia, presented by Peloton. Coverage begins at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Let's get to the phones before hour number 2 begins. Let's go to my man Ryan. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Ryan.
Stephen A., man, you're looking dapper today, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. What's up?
Just real quick, I have my own personal opinion on why nobody wants to go to L.A. to play with LeBron.
Okay, go ahead.
And I think it just.
By the way, I didn't say that's the case. I said we're gonna find out this summer whether that's the case or not. So we'll see. But go ahead.
Right. I just think players take notice to things just like everybody else does, and all the drama that happened in Cleveland, like the beef with Kevin Love there for a while, and then the thing that went down with Kyrie. How many coaches has he gotten fired? Players don't want to deal with drama. They don't want to deal with like this. It's just like Kevin Durant said the other day, man. I just want to play basketball, and I think that players don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with They took notice to all the stuff that went down in Cleveland, and they don't want to deal with that. I gave LeBron. He's a basketball savant, but sometimes he can be not just the best player in the world, but a coach. And I think players will feel like, you know what, I'm not just going to be playing with LeBron, the greatest player in the world, but he's a coach.
Well, I can tell you this. Well, not just a coach, somebody that's impenetrable because he ain't getting traded. You ain't going to get rid of him. So the fact of the matter is he does have the clout and the cachet to potentially get rid of somebody else. That's one other thing. The other thing is we also have to recognize this. The Lakers aren't the only thing that aren't the only situation that's affected by it. It's also the New York Knicks, because when I watched Kevin Durant going off about the media and how he just wants to play basketball and all of this stuff that's going on, the number one thing that came to my mind is why in the hell would he want to be? Why in the hell would he want to be on the New York Knicks? Why would he want to be in that media capital world? You know what? He could go to Brooklyn or he could go to the LA Clippers and say, let the attention go elsewhere. Y'all leave me alone, because I'm not going to be bothered nearly as much if I were in another market or on a lesser team per se in terms of the eyeballs and the attention rather than a marquee franchise in that respective city. That is entirely possible.
Well, and the other thing about people have to realize the reason why it worked in Miami, he was playing with his best friend, and Chris Bosh decided, you know what, I'm going to take the lesser role.
Time out. That's true, but there's another big component you're missing. Dwayne Wade was a superstar at that time as well, and a big brother because he was older and more seasoned, having some college experience, having already been in Miami under Pat Riley. LeBron was shielded and allowed to grow and blossom. That helped too.
True. All right, my man.
Take it easy. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Nobody's going to really appreciate Dwayne Wade until he's gone. I personally would have preferred that he retired last year as opposed to this year, because I think that he deserves a better send-away than he has received this season. This is one of the great, great guards and the great, great people in the history of the NBA. And I would have liked to have seen Dwayne Wade celebrated more in his final season in the NBA than he has been. But I think he might have stayed a year too long. Anyway, hour number 2 up next. We'll continue talking some NBA, NFL, and, of course, soap operas. Hour number 2 up next.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
When it comes to hiring, you don't have time to waste. You need help getting to your short list of qualified candidates fast. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. And when you need to hire fast, accelerate your results with sponsored jobs. New users can try for free at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions and quality standards apply. Listen up, people. We have a big favor to ask, and we promise it won't take too much of your time. You know, our show is supported by some fantastic sponsors, right? Well, we'd love to hear your feedback. Head to podcastlisteners.com and fill out a short anonymous survey. That's it. We swear. Again, that's podcastlisteners.com.
This is the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
I'm Stephen A.
Welcome to hour number 2 of the Stephen A. Smith Show, here with you over the airways of ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Number to call up as always is 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. The Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, is presented by Progressive Insurance. Pick from a range of coverage options with the Name Your Price tool to find a price that works for you. You know, before I get back to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN, it's 888-729-3776. A couple of other things that I wanted to point to again. When I want to give props to Russell Westbrook. 8 straight games of a triple-double. I mean, that's just phenomenal, surpassing Michael Jordan. I mean, this guy is something special. Paul George, MVP caliber season. MVP caliber season. Paul George has been nothing short of sensational. It's undeniable. And right now, when you look at the way Paul George is playing, I don't think anybody can deny this reality. When you look at Paul George and the way that he has been performing, and you look at Russell Westbrook, and then you look at those young athletes that they have, I got to tell y'all something, man. Oklahoma City may be the biggest threat to the Golden State Warriors. I look at the powers that be in the East, Milwaukee, Boston, Toronto, Philadelphia. You know what impressed me? I thought Philadelphia had the best pre-deadline moves because they add Jimmy Butler and then they add Tobias Harris with Redick, with Simmons, with Joel Embiid. That's something special to behold. Their depth is still a question mark, but I got to give credit where credit is due. But then Milwaukee, who's got the best record in basketball at 40-13. Toronto's 40-16. When you look at Milwaukee, adding Mirotic, he can ball. He's a stretch 4. He can do some damage for you on the perimeter. And that's the one huge question mark that you had about the Milwaukee Bucks. So that also makes it very, very, very interesting. I just got to tell y'all that. And so I look at it from that perspective, and things are getting very interesting in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics, let me tell you what I saw last night. I saw a team that had trouble getting out and defending the 3, but I also saw a team that's still exhausting themselves trying to fit in Gordon Hayward, not paying enough attention to how it's compromising the rest of their squad. I saw a Terry Rozier, who was balling last night, get relegated to the bench because it was time to bring Kyrie Irving back in. I say, why have Marcus Smart in there? Why not put Terry Rozier and Kyrie Irving in there at the same time? Why not do that? That seemed to be something that would have made the most sense to me. Brad Stevens is going to have to figure this out. I haven't given up on Boston coming out of the East, but Brad Stevens is going to have to figure this out. He really is. It's just something that's very, very important to do. And that's in the East. Out West, it's Golden State. It's Oklahoma City. It's Denver, who plays in Philly tonight. And I've been very impressed with what I've seen from them. Can't ignore them. But I'm still not ignoring the Lakers. As crazy as that sounds, y'all. As crazy as that sounds. Because they don't deserve it. The way they've been struggling. Without the services of LeBron for those 17 games. Losing by 40, 42 the other night to Indiana. On the road in Indiana with a team without Victor Oladipo. By the way, two coaches of the year candidates. Easy. I don't even want to hear it. 2 guys are Mike Budenholzer and Nate McMillan in Milwaukee and Indiana, respectively. I don't even want to hear it. It's a 2-horse race for Coach of the Year honors. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear another name. It doesn't matter to me. I don't want to hear it. It's about those 2. Let's pay attention to that. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You're listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Brady. You're live with Stephen A. Talk to me, Brady.
Hey, Stephen A. I was wondering if LeBron joins a front office after he retires or becomes a personality or an actor. I mean, what do you think?
First of all, I don't think it's either. I think LeBron James would be an owner. LeBron James is worth close to $1 billion, sir. LeBron, why would LeBron need to work for somebody front office? Why would he need to be an actor? LeBron James is going to own studios and production companies. He already does. And LeBron James is going to try to own a team, and they'll probably facilitate letting it happen because he's great for the world of sports. So LeBron is going to be an owner. LeBron is not going to be working for somebody else. They're going to be working for him. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Who do you think he owns then? I mean,
I don't know. It depends. I don't know. So, for example, if I'd asked you years ago, who do you think Michael Jordan would be owning? Wouldn't you have said the Chicago Bulls? But Jerry Reinsdorf wasn't giving up ownership. Then he went to Washington with Abe Pollin, and that didn't pan out. And then the league took care of him by making sure to pair him with Bob Johnson, had a minority stake, ultimately brought out Bob Johnson for the majority stake, and now he's the majority owner of the Charlotte Hornets. So it's not about where you're going to own something, because I have no clue. But I believe that LeBron James will own an NBA team. That's what I believe will happen.
I completely agree, I guess.
All right.
Thanks.
Take care. Let's go to Gil. You're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Joe.
Talk to me. What's up, man?
What's going on? First of all, my name's Joe, man. Like your show. I got two questions, Joe.
All right.
Los Angeles Lakers, I believe they can make the playoffs.
They will.
Run, and make your free throws. Make those free throws. If you look at it, I don't have it like you guys, but if you look at it, there's a lot of free throws. A lot of free throws. Make those free throws, kid. Give them games. Win some luckily. Win some on the blowout status. Make the playoffs, and let's get going.
The Lakers?
The Lakers.
So, in other words, make their free throws, and what will happen?
And then make their free throws, play some defense like they did last night against Boston. Run. They got a young team. Let them run.
Stop right there. Why don't you just say if they got a manicure and a pedicure, too? Do you want somebody to wipe somebody's behind for them, too? I mean, come on, man. You know how many things, you know how many ifs you threw out there? If they make their free throws, if they run, if they get back on defense. I mean, damn, why don't you just say if they play basketball? You can't give me five different categories, because that applies to everybody. What if the Golden State Warriors decided not to make free throws, not to run back on defense, not to play together? You can't give five different categories as qualifications. You got to have something specific, man.
I got another question.
Hurry up. Go ahead.
Mr. Frank Robinson.
Yeah.
83 years old.
Yes,
I was
sir.
at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah.
That's a good brother, man.
Yes, he was. He was always at the Lakers games.
On 30th Street.
Right.
Historian. A lot of African historian with him. He need to show more love to him.
Well, I will say this to you. You're absolutely right. He was a pioneer. You know, like I said this morning, 586 career home runs, 14-time All-Star. Was tough as nails, used to crowd the plate, daring somebody to throw inside on them, was feisty, a leader, a winner, I mean, an MVP in both American and National League with Cincinnati and Baltimore. And then not only that, the first black manager. And on the day that he walked to the plate, because he was a player manager in Cleveland, the day that he walked to the plate in 1975 against the New York Yankees, he smacked a home run. In his first appearance, his first game as a manager, as a player manager, he had a home run. When you think about pioneers, those who paved the way for others, it's something special to behold. He's from Oakland and played at a high school, and I won't say the name because I forgot how to pronounce it, so I got to make sure I have the correct pronunciation. He was teammates with Kurt Flood and Bill Russell, the father of free agency and the ultimate champion, 11 championships in 13 years. I mean, it's something special. I'll give you that. But I got to go right now, man. I appreciate the call. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't wait for this call. I was looking forward to this call. I would love to tell you, you understand that first of all, he's an actor extraordinaire, no doubt about it. He's been the star of General Hospital for the better part of 2 decades. But not only is he a friend, a phenomenal actor, a huge sports fan, he also happens to be my boss. I'm Brick, the surveillance expert for the mob and the mobster known as the one and only Sonny Corinthos of General Hospital, played by the fabulous actor himself, Maurice Bernard. What's going on, man? How are you, sir?
What's going on, my man?
Man, I'm so happy that you called in. First of all, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. I don't think I'd remember a line if it wasn't for you. So I thank you so much for all the help that you've given me.
And you know what, Stephen, I just want to tell everybody that I might have helped you a tiny bit, but you're a natural actor, and I really mean that.
I appreciate it. I know you've always told me that, but I've never believed it. But I'm going to take it. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to take it. Thank you very much. But I want to talk about you because it's not just about General Hospital. I want you to tell everybody about this new project that you've got coming up where you're John Gotti. Am I correct? Is that true?
What do you want from me? Yeah, I'm John Gotti. How you doing?
Talk to me about it.
It's coming out tomorrow night, 8 p.m., Lifetime. It's called the Victoria Gotti, my father's daughter, and I play John Gotti. Very difficult, very exhilarating. It was one of the biggest challenges I've had as an actor, I got to tell you, Steve.
Why is that?
Man, I wish I could get into it, but all I'll say is it was a monster. And but I overcame it and I got through it, and I think it made the performance better and made me better as an actor.
I ask you that question only from this perspective. Even though it's soaps, I mean, you being a mobster, it some people would say that should come very natural because you've been doing such a sensational job on General Hospital for all of these years. So transitioning from doing that to being the mobster that is John Gotti, how much of a stretch was it from doing soaps to doing something like this for Lifetime?
Well, I know people think Maurice is just doing another gangster, and it's not much of a stretch. But the difference is Sonny, the character I play on the soap, General Hospital.
Yes,
he operates in about a second, maybe third gear. Well, John Gotti, the way I played him, operated on like a fourth and fifth gear. Plus, I had to do the accent. Plus, I had 48 hours to do research, which is no time at all. So, and there's nothing on John Gotti. There's nothing on YouTube. There's only one thing that I kept using when he's in prison talking to Victoria and her son, and he's like, "I'm your granddad. You understand what I'm saying?" And it was just that I could use, but there's nothing else. So I just had to kind of just go and do, and that's what made it difficult.
So was there anyone close to John Gotti that you learned about John Gotti? Was there anybody that enlightened you and informed you, Victoria, anybody that just gave you all the material that you needed?
Yes, Victoria was a godsend. Because second day I was in her trailer and we were talking, and I said, "Give me anything. I just want to make him human." She said, "Play him like Michael Corleone in The Godfather, and not like Tony Soprano." And I said, "Okay, I can do that." So I had to find. And as I was speaking to her, it came to me when I was sitting there listening to her. I saw why her father loved her so much through just her words, man, and how she saw him and things. So I had to connect to something from John Gotti, and what I connected with was the love for his family, the loyalty he had. He was a man of the people, and he had a certain intensity that I think I was born with.
We're talking to the one and only Maurice Bernard. He is known as Sonny Corinto, star of General Hospital. And how many years now have you been at General Hospital, sir?
25, man.
25 years you've been at General Hospital. I can't thank you enough for what you've done for me. I have a fabulous time working with you all the time and talking about this stuff. But I want to know, because being around you, watching you teach, watching you, rehearse scenes and everything, because, I always come upstairs and I watch you work before I do what I do. How I got to learn from something because I don't know. But I often wonder, how you don't seem tired. You don't seem disinterested. You seem just as enthused as ever. If people were watching you for the first time, they damn near think you just started doing it, for crying out loud, with how excited you appear to be about everything you do. Talk about that for a second. You've been doing this for 25 years. You don't seem to have any fatigue whatsoever. What's that about?
Well, I mean, it depends what day you catch me on. But, when I work with you, you're going to see the enthusiasm because I love that you're good. And remember that last scene we did, and I said, "Ooh,
yeah,
no, you nailed that one." And just the way you did it, and it was a pretty couple-page scene, and the way you did it, that gets me passionate.
Because I often wonder, you just look at actors and actresses and what have you, and sometimes you get the impression that, they're going through the motions, they have the skill, they do what they do, but ultimately it can be a bit monotonous at times, whether you're rehearsing scenes or having to do a scene over, whatever the case may be. That's not the case with you. And I look at General Hospital, and I look at Sonny Corinthos. It's at a point right now, and I love everybody that's there. Everybody there is absolutely phenomenal and fantastic to me, and I'm so grateful for it. But there is no General Hospital without Sonny Corinthos. Have you accepted that reality? Do you ever look at it that way? Or is it one of those situations where you never take that for granted?
Yeah, I don't take that for granted. I maybe in the past I would, my ego would say that all the time. But now, the truth of the matter is, if an actor leaves a show, it may hurt a bit, but the show will go on. That's the way. That's that line, right? The show must go on.
Right.
So, I, as far as when I go in there every day and do what I do, I just always striving to be good. I don't want to fail. I never want to fail. So,
as an actor, when you look at some of these storylines that you get associated with, I've seen you one time. You shot your son one time. Another time, somebody shot you. Another time, just recently, your dad. Your dad was struggling with an illness. I don't know whether it's dementia or Alzheimer's, whatever the case may be. All of these different things that go on. Is there a role that you played, the actor that the name Sonny Corinthos? Is there a role that he played that you loved above all else?
Well, I think now we're talking about the Alzheimer's story.
Yes.
I've had some scenes on air, I think maybe a week ago with Laura Wright and Max Gale. They were both so real, so honest. And that storyline hits me because my dad lives with me now. And he's at that age, and it's amazing. Max Gale's so great, and they dress him like my dad. They have a hat like my dad, and every time, sometimes I touch his shoulder, and I'm like, it's my father, and it doesn't feel like acting. It's living it, and I get choked up. Jeez, I get choked up even discussing it. Okay.
I got you. I'm here with you, my man. I'm here with you, and I totally get where you're coming from. Believe me, I do.
I know you do, brother.
I want to read something, and I don't mind repeating this, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind because you posted it on social media. So it's certainly not something that's private. You wanted people to know.
Yes.
And you were talking about your struggles, your personal struggles with mental illness. Allow me to read this, if you don't mind, to my listeners out there. This is what you wrote just the other day. You said, quote, "I've been struggling with mental illness for over 30 years, and I understand how difficult and unbearable this illness can be. Fortunately, I've always been one to seek help, stay on medication, and I've always had a family who truly loves me and supported me no matter what. I've seen way too much heartache in the last 30 years. We have to understand this is not just the, oh, he's just going through something, or, oh, he's just a little crazy right now illness. This is the, oh, he or she is not with us anymore disease. I don't know the fix it or how to fix it. I wish I did. All I know is we all have to keep our eyes, ears, and our hearts open to the signs." This was in the aftermath of Christophe St. John for Young and the Restless, leaving us far too early at the age of 52 the other day. And obviously there's professional athletes like Kevin Love and DeMar DeRozan and others who have acknowledged their battles with mental illness, emotional things like that. Talk about that for a second and why you was provoked to send that out and what this matter means to you.
Well, the reason it hit me, of course, Christophe was a little bit of the reason, and the other reason was what I had read on NAMI put out something that 43 million people suffer from mental illness. And of course, anybody who knows me, I've been a spokesperson for the last maybe 25 years. And what gets me about this is it almost seems like it's getting worse. And I don't understand how that can be with there's so much help and there's so much, awareness, but more people are killing themselves. And or want to kill themselves.
Correct.
And it's really, really, I just don't understand. I don't know I don't get it. And it's just very important to me as somebody who has suffered for 30 years, and I know the struggle because I know the reason that people can't take it anymore is because the pain, Stephen A., is unbearable. And a lot of times you think, if this is the way it's going to be every day of my life, I don't want to be here anymore. Right. That's it, because that pain is that unbearable. So, and if you don't have the support system, then you're just like, it's too difficult.
And that's what my next question was going to go for those who are not struggling with it. What can folks do to help those who are, in your estimation?
It's a hard question, because you can't help someone who doesn't want to help himself. And that's a true fact. But what you can do is be patient, love them, and, there's not much else and try to get them help, because without help, it's not going to get fixed.
We're talking to the one and only Maurice Bernard. He plays the character Sonny Corinthos on General Hospital. He's also my boss. Sonny is Brick's boss on General Hospital as well. I appreciate you so much, man. I wanted to thank you. Before I let you get on out of here, I want to make sure to remind our audience, you got what's the title of the show? Is it Gotti on Lifetime?
Yeah, it's Victoria Gotti, my father's daughter. And I'm doing something on my Instagram Live at Maurice Bernard with Victoria Gotti tonight at 7:00 Eastern. So everybody check that out. And I put something out on my Instagram that's behind the scenes of the movie. And check it out, man.
I will. Absolutely. I appreciate you so much. By the way, before I let you go, a different subject, a lighter subject. I saw Keith Thurman fight the other day. I know how much you love your boxing. I saw him fight the other day. He won a decision, but I still don't look at him thinking he can beat a Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. Maurice Bernard, I don't feel that way.
Okay,
where are you
listen, Stephen A.
Okay.
You have to understand something. He was 2 years, away from the game. And yes, he looked like he was getting knocked out, but you got to give him some credit for heart. I don't think I've ever seen Keith Thurman on the canvas.
Well, listen,
I don't think he's been on the canvas.
No, he hasn't been on the canvas, but I'm just saying he didn't look that sharp. And I think if he went in with one of those boys, sometimes the layoff and what you lose during the layoff, you never get back.
That I do agree with. But I will say this.
Okay.
Terrence
Crawford and Errol Spence, yes.
Okay. I think Spence, it's a tough one. Yes. That guy's a beast.
Yes, he is.
Crawford, we'll see.
Okay. All right. My man, I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon, boss. I'll see you soon.
What you do, brother.
Thanks a lot, my man. I appreciate you. Love you, man. Thank you so much.
Love you too, man.
All right. The one and only Maurice Bernard, a.k.a. Sonny Corinthos, General Hospital, right here with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Yes, he's my boss. He's my boss. I do what he says. When it comes to the soaps, when it comes to acting, I do what he says. Us lesbians have to stick together. What can I say? I'm only playing, y'all. I am no actor. 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. Back to your phone calls and more in a minute with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News. By the way, when you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes, do you? You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screening questions based on your job requirements, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed. Back to your calls in a minute with Stephen A., ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Geico presents eyewitness interviews with inanimate objects.
This is Brian Bruno live on the scene of a recent windstorm, here to describe the event, A Chest of Drawers.
There's a storm howling outside, so I thought I'd stay in and watch a rom-com. 5 minutes into the flick, a tree branch slams through the window.
Were you hurt?
I just got a scratch on my chest.
Your chest of drawers can't help you in a windstorm, but the Geico Insurance Agency can help you get covered for personal property damage. Call Geico to see how affordable homeowners insurance can be.
You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Let's get back to the phones at 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. By the way, before I get to the phones, Markelle Fultz being traded. I said it on the air today. I'll say it again. He might end up being the biggest bust, number one overall pick bust in NBA history if things don't change. Jury's still out. He's only 20 years of age. He's got a chance to resurrect himself, get himself on the right track. I think he's a really, really good kid. Ladies and gentlemen, there are things that have gone on with him on a personal level that's none of anybody's business, that has derailed his basketball career. It's not about basketball. It's about life with him. And I pray for him every day and wish him nothing but the best. I really, really do. But if he doesn't turn this around based on what we saw him do in college, transitioning that to what we've seen since he's arrived in the NBA, it'll be a bigger bust than Anthony Bennett of the Cavs. It'll be a bigger bust than that. A bigger bust than that. It's that bad. But I'm rooting for you, Markelle. I hope you get it turned around. Hope he shows up and shows out in Orlando, wherever else he ends up. I do think the Sixers did a good job getting Jonathan Simmons for him, though. I'll tell you that much. Let's go to Bethany. You're live with Stephen A. What's up, Bethany? How are you?
Good. How are you, Stephen A?
I'm doing all right.
Love your show. Love your show.
Thank you so much.
I was wanted to call about what you just mentioned about the Fultz trade. I think I agree with you. I think, if things don't change, he can be a bust. And I think that it was good for him to get out. But my question is, for the Sixers, do you think now with the trades that they have with Harris, that if they don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, is it a disappointment of the season?
No. Well, let me say this. It's a disappointment, but it's not a bust. Because Milwaukee, Toronto, and Boston are formidable. Now, if they lost to anyone other than those three teams, that would be a problem. Yeah. But if they run into one of those three, which obviously is likely since they're expected to be the top four seeds in the Eastern Conference, Toronto, Milwaukee, Boston, and Philadelphia. If Philadelphia lost to one of those teams, we can understand it. If they lost to Toronto, who just acquired Marc Gasol, add him to Kawhi Leonard and Siakam and Anunoby and Kyle Lowry and Danny Green and those boys, we can't sit up there and dismiss that. What if we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks? They just added Mirotic, with his stretch four abilities. The ability he shoots over about nearly 37% from 3-point range. He's a 16-point per game scorer. You add him to Milwaukee and the outside, shooting prowess that people perceive them lacking. Suddenly that's not a problem anymore. You go to Boston. They got 3-point shooters. They got length. They got athleticism. They've got depth. They've got exceptional coaching and a superstar in Kyrie Irving. If you're the Philadelphia 76ers and you lose to any of those three, it's disappointing, but we can't sit here and say that, oh my Lord, the season would be a total abject failure. The fact of the matter is any of those teams can beat Philadelphia, even as they're constructed.
True. And I just had a quick question for you about Ben Simmons. I love the game. I go to the games as much as I can, but when I'm sitting in row 107, which the arena, and he's coming down with the ball, and you just know that he's going to pass it. I'm like, as a fan, I can.
Who is this?
Ben Simmons.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead.
When he's coming down, with the ball, just coming down, he's going to pass it. And as a fan, I can see how much more, the defense can plan for it. And I guess I'm just like, is it?
Well,
Bethany, is it?
Bethany,
yeah,
I'm very concerned. What are you trying to do? Take my job? That's astute basketball analysis on your part, Bethany. I mean, what the hell are you trying to do? Take my job? I mean, come on now. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, Bethany. I need my job. I don't want you I love you, but I don't want you taking my job. That's some astute basketball analysis there. But I will say this. Ben Simmons can take it to the hole and finish at the hole. The problem is that if they lay back off of him and dare him to shoot the perimeter shot, you are right, he will give it up. But that's why they added Tobias Harris with a Jimmy Butler and a Joel Embiid with a J.J. Redick expected to be in the lineup with all of them. Because you basically have three bona fide shooters, three guys who can shoot, right? I only consider Redick a shooter. Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler are scorers, and Joel Embiid obviously can score from the inside or out 15 to 17 feet. He can do major damage with an occasional 3-point shot. But I just look at it from the standpoint that Ben Simmons ultimately leads you in a situation where you're playing 4-on-5 basketball at some point if teams get back and force the Sixers to be a half-court team. What's sad about that is Ben Simmons is a jump shot away from being considered one of the top 5 players in the world. He's a jump shot away from being LeBron Part 2. At a 6'11" frame with those ball handling skills, those passing skills, that basketball IQ, it's a damn shame he hasn't worked on his jump shot because it's the only thing he's lacking.
Correct. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you, Bethany. I appreciate the call. We got to watch out for Bethany. John, be careful about letting her on. Again, this girl trying to take my job. Bethany was pretty damn good. She was better than most of y'all fellas. She was breaking down basketball better than most of y'all. I mean, come on, fellas. Come on now. Ain't no genderism here. We going to give props where it's due. I was very impressed by Bethany, I must say. I really must say. John, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Big fan, brother. Big fan.
Appreciate you. Go ahead.
Regarding the Lakers last night, LeBron really seemed to click controlling the ball and having shooters around him. How will this impact Lonzo Ball's position and role with the team moving forward when he returns?
I think that Magic and those boys are not going to be shy about putting Lonzo on the bench. If you got guys, even Kentavious Caldwell-Pope came off the bench yesterday and made shots. Obviously, Hart made a couple. Kuzma was balling. Brandon, I think the two biggest guys that may suffer playing time wise is Ingram to a lesser degree, and of course Lonzo. The thing that makes them both formidable, however, is they're both athletic defenders and have enough length on them to cause problem for opposing offenses. That's where you have to gauge whether it's best to utilize them or not. But I think both of them are liabilities from the perimeter when it really, really counts for the Lakers, which is why I think ideally seeing LeBron out there with a Hart, with a Kuzma, you got to keep Rondo out there because he's just a brilliant basketball savant at the point guard spot. I think those kind of things help along with getting somebody else who's capable of stretching the floor, you know, from the perimeter. So a guy like Muscala, if he can give you anything from the perimeter, even though he's a career 7-point per game scorer, I think that would help the Lakers as well.
The more important question, did LeVar Ball help motivate and fuel the team last night?
No.
With his comments?
No.
And if so,
No. I think what fueled the team and motivated the team was the fact that the NBA trading deadline had expired and nobody was worried about having to leave California any longer. That's what motivated them.
But do you think what LeVar Ball is somewhat helpful to the team?
No,
players
I think that LeVar Ball is going to end up getting his son traded. Because I think that when you call out the coach and when you say Magic's just a face, he ain't making no real decisions, it's Genie Bus and stuff like that, I think ultimately LeVar Ball's mouth is going to get Lonzo Ball up out of there. That's what I think is going to happen. And I like LeVar Ball. You know, he's talked smack about me from time to time. That's all in fun, man. I ain't even worried about something like that. I respect the hell out of LeVar Ball in terms of his marketing wizardry and what have you. But he did pull a son out of college. He did pull a son out of high school. He has engaged in hyperbole about what Lonzo Ball was going to be on the NBA level. And none of that has reached fruition as of yet. He even went so far as to say the Lakers will win championships if they had all three of his sons on the squad. Come on now. You got to earn that. You can't be getting jobs just because your father is a marketing whiz. That don't cut it. That don't cut it, and the Lakers ain't going to go for it. And evidently, neither is anybody else, because I don't see anybody else from the Ball family in the NBA. So we shall see. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. I'll be back with your calls to close out the show in a minute. Gentlemen, stop lounging around. Be active. Take your girl out. Go to a game or a concert. Get tickets to something. Plus, the NBA season is heating up, and the time is now to jump on those tickets. For all your ticket needs, look no further than Vivid Seats, the official ticket partner of ESPN. Go to vividseats.com and enter promo code ESPN to get 10% off your first order. Get out, go have an experience, fellas. Get to the game and use what I use. That's Vivid Seats. 888-SAY-ESPN. That is the number to call right here with Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Guess what? You're in the middle of the Stephen A. Smith Show podcast.
Damn it, I mean it!
The Vivid Seats app is easy to find awesome seats to any game. Download the app and enter promo code CHAMPS at checkout to get 10% off your first order. Back to the phones we go. Camilo, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
I feel like I'm accepted to a lot of rules, right? Obviously, you are as well, right? Just the way it is.
Hello.
So, but also, there are also redeeming qualities to that, not trying to get fucked over by anybody.
Goodbye. Wanda, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., coming out of the gate, I want to send some love to you. I know you have worked yesterday and today sick.
Thank you.
And I feel for you. You're there. And I just want to let you know that you are my first take, middle take, and last take.
Thank you so much, Wanda. I appreciate it.
ESPN is very lucky to have you.
Thank you so much.
And I want to say right to those at the comments, I'm Alabama, live in Alabama, and Saban, let's build our defense back. I hope you're listening.
Yes.
And LeBron and the boys pulled it together last night.
Yeah.
And if Chandler had knocked that ball loose, we wouldn't have had that last shot.
That's
Look
true.
At Chandler.
True. The effort, Wanda, the effort that Chandler put there, that's why he's a welcomed addition. And by the way, it only played about 5 minutes.
Isn't that something?
That's right. Only played about 5 minutes. And you know something? He came up in there and made a play that helped them win the game. And that's not the only time this year he did that. He did that earlier this year, too, when the game-winning shot was hit by the Lakers because Tyson Chandler had tapped the ball out. And another one, he had tapped the ball away defensively so Minnesota couldn't get a last shot.
Hey, you know what? I have been watching LeBron forever, and have you noticed, it might be the uniform, but he looks stiff.
He looks stiff right now. Wanda, we got to get ready to go, so I appreciate the call. What I would tell you is LeBron's only looking stiff right now because he's not 100%. He's just coming back from that hamstring injury, and he's sort of pacing himself and taking it in his stride. He said he's not 100%, but he's getting better. All right, I got to run. Got to get on out of here for the week. Thanks again to Maurice Bernard, Sonny Corinthos, and General Hospital for coming on the show. I'll holler at y'all Monday. Until then, peace and love.
That's just a sample of what you'll hear on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.